Hey, good day, guys. I know, man, some of you are already done with the university, yeah? Get cornered by your Asian parents and done with the school, done with university. You move on, you got your career, you got a family, you got your house, cool stuff. But if you could just kind of stay through on this episode and chime in on the Telegram discussion, that would be great for the community. And for all of you who are struggling to decide whether you should go to the university or just drop out or, just don't do it, right? Those are like very interesting questions, and generally what I see online is this one-sided view that uni is shit, uni is waste of money, waste of time, those kind of stuff. So I decided that, hey, I'm going to share with you from a dropout's viewpoint, right, some of the advantages of going to the university, and that will be the episode for today. And good morning, everyone. I welcome you to another day with the Financial Coconut. In our podcast, we'll be debunking financial myths, discovering best financial practices, discussing financial strategies that fits our unique life. You get it. Ultimately empowering us to create a life we love while managing our finances well. So today's topic, 3 advantages of going to the university, from the view of a dropout. So, okay, clearly I'm the dropout, right? So some people will be like, hey, you sure you want to do this episode, talk about the advantage of university? You've not even finished it, right? So, okay, let me just put it this way. I'm not trying to tell you should go to the university or you shouldn't go to the university. I'm just mostly wanting to air some light on the other side of the discussion that is rarely talked about, right? Everybody that is online, or most of the online media, talks about how like universities share a waste of money, student debt, and for whatever reason out there, a lot of these people are showing you one side of the discussion, and the other side of the discussion is rarely talked about. Of course, because maybe uni kids are too busy, they got no time to record and talk to you online, right? And all the people that are trying to talk to you online are trying to sell your program, sell this idea that you don't need to go to university, or for whatever reason that they're doing. And also mainstream media do contribute into a lot of these kind of fluff and this kind of one-sided view of things. So I'm not saying that they are wrong in the sense that it's just one side of the discussion. Then there's the other side of the discussion that I hope to kind of feel you in. But even from this side of the discussion, I want to kind of share with you from my viewpoint, right? Which is like, from a dropout's viewpoint, why I think, in my imaginary world, going to university doesn't sound too bad, right? So I'm going to share with you some stuff. But before I go into, talking about the advantages of going to the university, in my viewpoint, I just want to fill you in on my end of the backstory, right? So what happened to me? So I am this like Singaporean Asian kid, Chinese, and Chinese people are very kiasu one, right? They just want to make sure you do very, very well. And the idea of doing very, very well is like go to the very good university. So you chong, you study them hard, you burn midnight oil and all those kind of stuff. So during my junior college days, I was just kind of fooling around my first year. So my friends actually call me the 4-day work week guy, right? So what does that mean? It means if they see me from Monday to Thursday in school, right, then they will kind of tell me, hey, Friday you're not coming, right? Tomorrow you're not coming to school, right? So I'm a bit crazy in a sense, because that doesn't really happen in the junior college. Everybody very guai, very nerdy, work very, very hard, try to get to the university. Then I was this xiao guy, right, that kind of DSA into the school, which means I took a different route. I didn't do as well for my secondary school exams, but I do a different route with some other talents, and I got into the school, which was a pretty good school. I will not name the schools. I mean, you can just check out my LinkedIn, you get everything. But the idea is, I did study very hard for A-levels, which is like our high school exam, right? The final exam before you go to the university. And I think it was really, really hard because after that exam, right, I couldn't sleep, right? It was a point where I will bounce out. Like in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. Then suddenly I wake up, like, hey, haven't finished. So it's like a bit of traumatic experience. But yeah, man. So it is quite crazy, the kind of self-pressure that I've put on myself. Of course, family pressure, social pressure, all the pressures add up. Especially when you're young, 18 years old. Everybody tell you this is the way, and you're not really given much room to explore and look at the world in a different light. So then you just kind of double down in it, right? So maybe the good thing that came out of it is I did do well for exams. So I got like AABA, so that's pretty cool. I just want to like humble flex a bit. So because aku study very hard, right? So let me just flex a bit. I did pretty well for my exams, and I got into a pretty good school like NUS, business. I remember like my buddies, right? They had to like appeal, and one of them actually got into the school. And then he was like, "Hey, do you appeal?" I was like, "Well, I don't need appeal. They just accept me." So yes, either way, I got into the university, and during the 2 years, so every Singaporean guy have to go through the army, right? During the 2 years in army, many crazy things happen, and I didn't want to go to school. Right, so I didn't want to go to university, and I just wanted to like do other things and explore and see the world and do whatever shit that I want to do. But I got cornered by the family. So what happened is, right, my family somehow became so united. I've never seen the family and the extended family so united, like 同一阵线, right? So every big, small gathering, 红事白事, all the gatherings, right? I will have some auntie, distant uncle that I don't know them. Like I know they're my uncle aunties, but we don't talk. And then they'll come and talk to me, boy, why you don't go to the university? Blah, 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 blah. Then I look at all of them, right? None of them have gone to the university. So all they are trying to sell me is a lot of fear, a lot of what if like that? What if you cannot promote? What if you don't do well in life? There's a lot of what if here, what if there, and a lot of fear. There's not much wisdom, not much joy of going to the school and all those kind of stuff. So the selling point is very jialat also. But ultimately I gave in to that. I got cornered, and I like, okay lah, I go to university. Right. Honestly, I hated going to family gatherings after that. So for a few years, I didn't go for like gathering, wedding, birthday, everything I avoid, right? For a few years, which is a big thing for Asian families, right? You don't go to all these kind of gatherings. But that's a story for another day. So ultimately, I went to the school, but I didn't last lah. So after one sem, I dropped out. And for many reasons why I dropped out. So I think there was a lot of social pressure, a lot of angst in me, and generally because I didn't want to go there, I don't see the value of going it. So when I was there, I just didn't optimize it. I just feel like day to day is dread. Sometimes I got AM lesson, and from Tampines I have to go to like Clementi. I was like, my goodness. So yeah, ultimately I didn't pull through. I dropped out after one sem. So for all of you who know me, you know the after story. A lot of shit happens, right? But for all of you who are trying to get to know me and new to the podcast and stay around, you hear more and more different stories. But I'm just going to focus on university today. So that is the backstory. Essentially, I did very well, went to the uni, got to a good uni, but I didn't complete. After one sem, I dropped out. So then after I dropped out, right, then I tried all sorts of weird things. Of course, I was part of a scam, and I'm sure you guys know by now. And I started a cafe, worked in a bakery. Essentially, every small little thing that you think a kid can do, right, I've kind of tried it. And nothing really worked lah until now, right? So I'm 28 now, and finally I'm getting some sort of progress, right? Recording things in my bedroom and then talking to you guys, and you guys happy to listen. Oh, okay, very good lah, right? So it's like many years, man. So like from university, 21, dropped out till now. So I rolled around for essentially 7 years. So of course I had like small little peaks here and there, but generally I think it is only at this point in time where I'm really getting traction in something that I do. And yes, I will bring on another friend in a later podcast, because now COVID, a bit mahuan to record multiple people kind of podcast to talk about his view, how he benefit from the university, because he really, I think he did a home run, right? So he really used the university's like network over there, because everybody is in school, right? And all the kind of connections and the kind of support system that they have and all the internships, right? And then it's like he hit a home run. By the time he graduated, he already got like super good paying jobs, all the connections that he need, and right? So I think that is like the uni success story that we should also talk a little bit more about. So I'll get him on in a later time. But from my view, right, the very first advantage that you can get from going to the university is this thing called institutional validation. it's like branding job, So you like do 4 years in NUS, do 3 years in NTU, wherever university you go, right? After that 3-4 years, you can be gong gong run, It's like you go in, don't really know what you're doing. Every day just follow module one after take another exam, then redo whatever lah, huh? And smoke your way through this 3 or 4 years. No need use much brain. Of course you gotta use some lah, huh? But what I'm saying is like you just blur go through this process. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people are like that because a lot of my friends are like that. Okay, I'm not saying that I never blur because I drop out lah. Huh? But for a lot of my friends, I was like, hey, what do you learn? So, I don't really know. Like, I everything give back to teacher, right? So if you go through this process, even 3 to 4 years of your time, you come out, you get a chop, from the university saying that you are a graduate from the university. So that is a form of validation that is very, very important. Of course, if you're super gung-ho, super hustler, super amazing, you can like take rejection like mad, right? You can always take the path less traveled, right? You want to go and slowly build your connections, build your validation, do content to show that you know what you're doing, go out and network, connect with the right people, slowly do the grind, ultimately get to the positions that you want to get to. Hey, that's cool. But for many other people, right, my personal view, as someone that went through that process of go out and keep door knocking, knock, try, and ultimately get to where I am, is that I think most people cannot handle this journey. That is the truth. Of course, I don't speak for all, but from my view, my biased view is that I think the journey for me is very, very gangko, very tough. Most people cannot do this. So if from that viewpoint, right, I think going to the university not bad, 3 to 4 years, you just kind of go around. Of course, if you can do more during your uni days, that'll be great, right? Go and connect with some people, do some experiments, try all sorts of stuff. That'd be cool. But even if you just waddle around for 3 to 4 years and just kind of bite through this process, even if you're like half unconscious, you get the kind of validation, you get like an affirmation that essentially NUS say you're good, or SMU say you're good, or UOL say you're good, whatever university that you go to. They chop you, say, this is my student, he went through the university, this person is good. Yeah, and that is important, and that's a much easier way than going around slowly, connect, and slowly get that kind of validation. Of course, it is very different, right? I'm not saying that they are the same, right? I'm not saying that it is a replaceable kind of thing. But what I see, right, is that it's just simpler, lor. For most people, it's a much simpler way. Go to the university, come out, job, okay, you are good enough. Of course, yes, these days, a lot of companies are more open to hire, more open to, recruit people on more varied kind of credentials. You can do a program here, build something, to show that you can actually build a social campaign, you can build an app, you can run a portfolio, you can do all the different things you can try. And it's a lot about increasing accessibility because of technology. You can try a lot of things and prove that it actually works, right? So companies are also more open to hire. That one, I don't deny that. I do see a trend, especially when the new generation leaders, bosses are younger, tech companies are more open, etc., etc. It is a thing, which leads me to my next point. It is not just about institutional validation, right? It is also about having a pacer pack, which means a bunch of people that will run this journey with you. And I will get back to you guys after a word from our sponsor. Hey guys, I get it. It's very uncomfortable to divulge all our personal information, especially in personal finance. It can be personal. Many of us are uncomfortable to talk about it. While I strongly encourage us to have a healthy and vibrant discussion about money, we can always start our journey with Stashaway today, one of the leading robo-advisors in Singapore. Check it out at thefinancialcoconut.com/stashaway so you get 50% off your fees for the first 6 months. Leverage on their data pool to help you start in an objective and comfortable way. Link is in the description below. Okay, so what do I mean by a pacer pack? Essentially, it is a bunch of people that will run through this thing with you, like run through a life with you. It's like how a lot of people go to the army and then they got like army bros, right? Or like how you have childhood friends and then you kind of stick around and it just kind of keeps going and going. But of course, at different phase of life, you have different goals, you meet different kind of people, and essentially it changes. Your connection changes, your viewpoint changes, and the people around you also change. And what I think it's when you're in the university, you kind of meet people that are a little bit more aligned, or you, because of the vast variety of people in the university, you can find people that are more aligned also, right? Okay, you must go and work lah, huh? Don't say go and dating and find the people that you think will work with you as a bunch of people to run through life together. And that is something that as a dropout, right, I didn't have, because I was so different from everybody and I wasn't active in trying to go out to connect and network, because like young and shy and all this kind of stuff, right? I just end up, being in a silo and feel very lonely, and it's not cool in that sense because you don't have the kind of support. You always need a support group. That's kind of how I feel, which is why it's very cool these days that there are more and more startup communities. There are this kind of like different kind of collectives to help you depending on what you want to do, right? You want to be a creative, there's like creative collectives. You want to do startups, there are like a lot of co-working spaces that have that kind of community to support you. And all those are good, man. You can do all those. But being in the university, I think already predetermines some of these guys, right? So you get to kind of meet people that are maybe more aligned. Of course, I want to put out a caveat out there is that it doesn't mean you go to university, you cannot go and network, right? So it is not a mutually exclusive thing. But I'm not sure if people talk about this because I don't hear this very vividly when I talk to people about the value of university, right? But when I look at it, I think it has that kind of power, right? Which is a bunch of people that are more aligned, trying to strive towards a better life, trying to strive towards a particular field of study that they are passionate and interested in. Of course, not everybody will end up loving whatever field that they study. Sometimes is you don't do well enough, then you get this law. It's like I have a friend, right? Okay, let me just chunk another story. I have a friend who got like super jialat grades, like CC something one, right? And at the point in time when the university gave him an offer, they gave him computing. Because back then, computing still not as cool, still not as popular. But by the time he graduated, computing was a strict A course because suddenly everybody want to do startup. Everybody want to be in the tech field, right? So the guy but the reality is when you go into the university, you have the kind of bunch of people to support you, which is something that I feel more people should realize that value, right? And kind of work on that. Don't go to uni and gong like that. If you go to university, maybe that is something that you want to look at, building a bunch of people that you can develop life with, you can develop your career with. Because like it or not, I think people that are in the university are like a self-select group, right? They come from a very good family, they come from a family of university grads, they come from, they're very smart and all these kind of things that they do tend to be a lot more advanced, right? So it's a self-select community, man. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. There's some sort of elitism in the university and all those kind of stuff. That is a discussion for another day. But if you can be in the university and you can kind of leverage on being there and connecting with these bunch of people and form your pack, I think there's some value there that is rarely discussed. Which brings me to my third point. Why do I think there is an advantage to go to the university? Is that right? Universities are actually super fertile soil for innovation and creativity. I know when I say that, some people will scratch their heads. Like, really, man? My professor is so boring, right? Which is not wrong. So I think professors out there, you also need to upgrade your presentation skills, but the truth is, right, to become a professor, many of them have really spent a lot of time in their field of research, in their field of understanding. And some of them actually teach classes that are not so directly related to their research. Maybe like a little bit of pivot from where they really love. So you can actually check up on your professors. All these professors, they publish their papers and you can check up on the papers and talk to them about their papers. It's like you talking to your friend about their favorite thing. They are more excited to share with you also. So when you are in a space where you have all these kind of prof around that are like spend tons and tons of time doing all the research and the leading research, right? Hey, why don't you talk to them? They are the ones that understand or try their very best to build objective research to give you the kind of data set, to give you the kind of deeper understanding of the particular field that they are in. So I think a lot of people don't double down on the professors. Like at this point in time, I'm trying damn hard to talk to different professors. I'm trying to talk to the public policy guy. I'm trying to talk to the economics guy. I'm trying to talk to the public health guys, right? So also ladies, I just use guys as a broad terminal term. So don't say 我是 anti-feminist, but yes, you get the idea. So I'm trying very hard to talk to all these kind of professors because I now see their value that they've done a lot of work to try to double down on that field that they are studying. So with that, right, they can give me a much deeper understanding rather than all this kind of newscaster, bloggers, YouTube people, or even podcasts. Yeah, man, I just put it out there that you talk to the prof, definitely you can learn more on the kind of geeky, deep down research than you talk to me. But I think I probably is a better presenter than them. So they also can learn from me, huh? But you get the idea. And also these days, universities have a lot of kind of innovation programs. Like NUS have Enterprise, right? NUS Enterprise, SMU has BIG, right? So they actually give out a lot of grants, So I work with some of these kind of startups in the ecosystem in the university. So on average, right, they give about 10 to 30,000 grants for your startup idea. Of course, you must pitch, sell your idea. But the idea is, hey, they actually support your idea and they fund your research, they fund your innovation. And so it's actually a place flooded with resources. It's whether you use it or not. That's another thing, right? So I think that is something that we all can definitely take a look at, right? The uni is not just a course or a bunch of modules that you're going to bid and finish. There are actually a lot of resources that from a person that is dropped out now, right? I'm actually trying damn hard to tap all these kind of resources, talk to the people, connect with the incubators and talk to all these kind of guys because essentially it is a cesspool of resources, just who is using what, right? So if you are in a uni or you're thinking of going to uni, try to find out all the researchers that are teaching your course. Look at some of their research paper or look at all the kind of initiatives that the university has that you can actually tap on. So of course, these are some of my views, and on the other end of the discussion, there are valid pointers also, like uni fees, the interest that you accrue, and these days you can actually learn out there. There are many other different things, right? So I'm not saying that you should go to university or you shouldn't go to university, but if you have done the university, definitely chime in on the discussion. If you have not, you're contemplating to go or not. These are some views that are not commonly talked about, but actually very valid, right? So I'm going to sum up today that these are the 3 advantages that I see from going to the university. One is the institutional validation. It's a simple way. You don't need to go and door knock and prove yourself that you're good. You go to, you gong do 3-4 years, you also get validated job. The institutional job, you say you are good. Next is the concept of pacer pack, right? Sometimes doing things alone is very challenging. Okay, maybe not sometimes, all the time. Doing things alone is very tiring, very challenging. But when you go to the university, there's a select bunch of people that you can then work with and connect with, and they can form your pack when you're going out there to take on all these kind of challenges in life, trying to build your career, build your life, and do all the innovation that you want to do. Which brings me to my third point, is that it is actually a very fertile soil for innovation and creativity. Leverage on your professor, leverage on whatever policies and whatever innovation things that they have in school. So yeah, I hope you learned something useful today. See ya! Hey, I hope you learned something useful today and truly appreciate that you took time off to better your life with the financial coconut. Knowledge is that much more powerful and interesting when shared, debated, and discussed. I hope you would share what you've gained with people you love, and I want to hear from you. Give me some questions and help me along with building a community of financially savvy coconuts. I hope together we can fulfill our curious minds and our desire for clarity. Join our community Telegram group. Check out our Facebook. Everything is in the description below. And if you enjoy our podcast and feel that you want to keep us growing and stay independent, do buy us a kopi at ko-fi.com. With that, have a great day ahead. Stay tuned next week, and always remember, personal finance can be chill, clear, and sustainable for all.